Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasatarsham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Om Sri Guru Namaha. So, we just might run short of time. So I'm not going to give you too many lectures and stories. Might in between. We need to cover up the time. So, we have 2 hours now, this session. Do you want me to go directly into Kriya? Yeah, because I think you came for a Kriya Shibir. So, okay. But a little bit of introduction before we do that. I said yesterday, opening session, that the aim of Kriya is to attain Samadhi. Samadhi Pada of Patanjali. And to attain Samadhi need not necessarily mean a complete shut-off of all physical mechanisms and remaining in a state of near suspended animation for some time. Not necessary. While short periods of such experience may be helpful to establish the mind in its quietness. What is required is that the mind, it all deals with the mind. The mind creates the problems and the mind then tries to solve the problems, all in the mind. So the most important thing is this mind mechanism that creates problems and then tries to solve them. But being the mind, new things sprout, then you have to close them. It's a constant process that goes on and on and on. And no status or achievement in normal material life is of any help in this matter. Because the mind says, okay, if I have this, if I have this status, or if I have this much, or and so on and so forth, then I will be satisfied, and then the mind will become. Never happens. Believe me, I meet people every day. There are poor people who think that if they make a lot of money, it's okay, I'm not criticizing. All the problems will be solved. Right. And then, in next 10 minutes, I meet somebody who you cannot imagine has acquired enough wealth for 15 generations, who says, I'm not happy. So where is this happiness? Does it depend on external factors or does it depend on a mind which says, to hell with all this is the inside that matters. I'm not saying you should run away you cannot run away from the world. Wherever you go, you're surrounded by the world. Once upon a time, when I was young, people used to run away to Rishikesh. If you have been recently to Rishikesh, you'll figure out that there's no place to run away into. Where? Where will you go? So, it's here. To find a corner, find a place of solitude inside. Well, you like to go to Rishikesh, or that is good as a tourist interest nowadays, or to see new places. But if you think that when you go to Rishikesh, Babaji is going to walk out of the Arundhati cave. I'm so sorry to say that you are laboring under an illusion. If Babaji wants you, he might be sitting near you. You don't even know who he is. Maybe this guy with a cap. So, the thing is here, in the mind. Now, this is the reason why. So, what we are seeking finally is happiness, tranquility, blissfulness, which we have through living in this world figured out is not available in this world to the extent that we want. A little bit here and there, yes, I understand. So we are saying, let's find out if there is some other source for this. They are saying it is inside, so let us look into this. Maybe it's inside us. We don't have to search anywhere else. We can go deep inside. Now, the reason why, from the yogic point of view, not from the Vedantic point of view, from the yogic point of view, the reason why, even though in the core of our being is the essence of all reality, which is Satchidananda, which is Sat, meaning that which is, is, as opposed to things which we think are but do not exist. The real is Sat. Can you call this world we are living in as Sat? Yeah, you can call it Sat because that's the only experience you have now for the time being, so it's the reality, okay, agreed. But truly, it's here today, and what happens after some years? It's not there. It's hard to accept, but fact, right? Okay, even if the buildings exist, what about me? How many years will I exist? So even if the buildings or whatever exists, I'm not there. So what is the point? So how can this be called absolute reality? Temporary, yes. So we are saying when you say Sat, it means that which always is. If it always is, it cannot be something that was born. Because anything that is born is sure to die. Don't say Babaji, then exception, general rule. So, Sat, we're trying to find out something that always is and doesn't go off whatever happens inside or outside. And this is the essence of our own being, which is why the Mahavakya in the Upanishad declares, Tat Tvamasi. You are not what you think you are, but that. That meaning, actually this. This is interesting. There is a collection of writings by not an Indian, I don't know what nationality he's from, called You Are That. Written in English, of course. Do you know who it is about? Somebody? Yeah? Nisargadatta Maharaj. You are that. So, during the last few years of his life, one day I found him out in his little beedi shop in the back streets of Bombay. I went and sat there. First he offered me a cigarette. I said, no. She said, do you mind if I piyunga? So he lit a cigarette. Then he said, I said, Babaji, there is one beautiful English book. Then he said, Kya naam hai? I said, you are that. Tum wo ho. हाँ हाँ कोई अंग्रेज ने लिखा है But I said, so, but that is right, right? You are that. He laughed and he said, but I am this. I am not that. But the Upanishadic Mahavakya is Tattvamasi, means simply to say that you are not what you think you are, but you are much more than that. You are the reality which is neither born nor dies, which is ever existent. And its nature is consciousness, chit. Sat, chit. And what is its nature? Ananda, eternal bliss. Not eternal bliss acquired through some effort, but by its very nature, inherent eternal bliss. This is what you are. I am. Everybody is in ultimate essence. But we have identified ourselves with various roles and we think we are this and that and so on. This is where we need to go. But the mind, caught up in the images that we have created, caught up in the different personalities we have adopted, both genetically as well as psychologically, being identified with this and its little problems. Right. We don't see this. We don't see this great statement, the Upanishad, Purnam, Adah Purnamidam, this is complete, but we are always incomplete. Why are we here for the Shibir? Because we think we need to do something and complete our spiritual course. Nothing wrong, I'm just facts, looking at the facts, right? Okay. So why is it that this mind does not understand this? Why is it always, for 1 second it may say, yeah, that is true, what he's saying is true. Then again it will come back to, well, what he's saying is true, but tomorrow when I go for a bath, Mauni Amma will say, I have to go first. If I can't go first, then I have to get security. You know how the mind is very interested in capturing you and holding you. And here, to be free and touch your true nature, you need to be free of it. How do we go about this? Most people come to me, much of their problems which they are going to ask will be sorted out and quiet, and if they just sit with me for 2 minutes quietly. But no, as soon as they come, they start, oh, this happened, then my husband, then my wife. I said, please let them alone. Can we talk something else? The mind, it traps us. The other day, a young man who has been doing Kriya for some time wrote me a long email. He says I should instruct him how to do business. I said, I'm not an expert in this, man. I don't know what to do. Good boy, but you know how it is. So, well, I had to be a little bit rough. I said on email, look, I'm teaching you how to attain ultimate peace and settlement in your heart and touch the Supreme Being, which is all-pervading. So please don't keep asking me every day, how many times should I pee? How many times should I shit? I have no answers. So anyway, so the question we asked is, why is it that the minds? Now the yogi says, the explanation which comes to us from the yogic texts, the Yoga Pradipika, teachings of Gorakhanath, various great yogis, is that the reason is that the mind is dependent on the breath. Prana, life energy. Life energy circulates through innumerable channels in our body. Innumerable. We say 100 generally, just a number. It means innumerable. Sahasra doesn't mean 1,000, it means innumerable. So there are innumerable nadis, channels in our system. Please, I'm not talking about nadi jyotisham. Inside our body. And the prana or life energy flows through this erratically. Sometimes here, sometimes there, sometimes up, sometimes down. Complete confusion it creates. This is the reason why the mind cannot attain the quietness required to understand our true self. So what is the solution? The solution is that this prana that moves through hundreds of nadis in a completely orderless fashion can be, if it can be ordered and brought into a certain shape, if this prana can be gathered from all other nadis and fixed on just three main channels in the system, which are the Ida, the Pingala and the Sushumna. Can you put up that yoga posture? Yeah. If you look at that picture, we are going high-tech these days. If you look at that picture, on one side there is one nadi going, and the center is the spine. We are saying, rather, this Goraksha Shataka says, if you can gather the prana, which is moving into all parts of the body through different nadis, and bring them using your mind to the Ida, the Pingala, and finally to the Sushumna. Then the mind acquires the capacity to be not distracted, but settle down quietly in tranquility. This is required for any step that is to be taken spiritually, unless you are by birth or through some reason such a great devotee that you don't need all these things, you're surrendered totally. Then the prana is working by itself. You don't have to, but most of us, we need to have a discipline to bring this about in our system. To channelize the prana into the Ida, Pingala, mainly the Sushumna, which is the central channel that runs from the Muladhara to the Sahasrara, and which is inside the spine, even inside the spinal cord. Very fine. This is the reason why we do all the practices which are connected to Kriya and therefore breath and therefore breath work. This is the reason. So, the next step is how to go about doing this. If you notice, the left side, which is Ida, is minus. It's the cathode. And the right, which is Pingala, is the plus, anode. I'm deliberately not using positive, negative, because that has a completely different connotation. When you say negative, you think it's bad. It's not that. It's cathode and anode, plus and minus, yin and yang. Now these are the two. In the center is the neutral Sushumna. The Ida from the left, the Ida Nadi starts from the right side of the brain, right lobe, crosses here, inside, not here, but inside, moves down and touches in ancient times. We have the story of the Pushpa Vimanas. The Pushpa Vimanas came silently like a flower. These are Dushta Vimanas. Anyway, so So what did I say? Yes. So the Ida starts from the right lobe and goes down into the Muladhara at the bottom. And the Pingala Nadi starts here, crosses here and goes down and joins. Now for us yogis, as Gorakhnath said, Varanasi is this part for yogis. Why? Because this is the Varuna and this is the Asi river. They both join together here. So this is Varanasi for us. And where is Shiva sitting? Bholenath in the Sahasrara, in all splendor. And where is his counterpart, the feminine, resting in the Muladhara? Right? Okay. So now, I wanted to go a little more, but we don't have time. We need to rush. The Ida Nadi is considered to be the Nadi which comes from the right side but crosses to the left. And this started here and goes to the right. Now the Pingala Nadi connects to this part of the brain which is the active brain. And the Pingala Nadi connects to that part of the brain which is the intuitive brain, and the Ida Nadi connects to the calculating brain, which says you are separate from me. If I say no, we are same, you will say this guy, there's something wrong with him. Although human beings are constantly in the effort to come together. Socially, physically, sexually. Why? Because we know that actually it is the same. We separate it, we are trying to come together. But actually speaking, it's the practical brain that decides, I'm sitting here, there is so much distance, you're sitting there, we are separate. The intuitive brain, if it operates without being conditioned by the practical brain, it will not see this difference. It will see everything as one. Now, where is the Sushumna Nadi play its part? If you want to go to the higher levels of mind and then beyond the ordinary mind, then your energies and prana should be brought to the Sushumna by equalizing the apana, prana and apana in the Ida and Pingala. So therefore, the first time you will get a reference to the practice of Kriya in a general way is in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It's called Abhyasa Yoga, Yoga of Meditation, where first Krishna tells Arjuna how to sit in a quiet place, not too high, not too low, not too soft, not too hard, and so on. Put your brain, your spine and your neck and your head in the same straight line. Fix your attention in the center between the eyebrows, in the Bhrumadhya. Balance the prana and the apana, and then be free. This is the first real reference we have in the earliest times, where Krishna, who in the Gita assumes the rule, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum, teaches Arjuna. So, this is what we have to do in Kriya. So, if you balance the prana and apana, the mind, which is usually agitated, disturbed, losing energy for no reason, becomes quiet, settled. Now that's the tarmac from which you take off to the levels that you reach through the Sushumna. I think theory is clear. Right. So this is why we connect breathing. Pranayama. Now, if you have managed, or when we are trying to bring the prana from the Muladhara to the Sushumna, I'm deliberately not using the word Kundalini. You know why? Because it's bandied about quite a bit. Internet, you can raise your Kundalini for $10,000 in 2 minutes. All this work is futile. You don't have to. So I'm avoiding. Let's call it Mukhya Prana, the most important prana. Nothing to do with Madhvacharya's name, Mukhya Prana. But so, while we do this, the yogis have found, yogis are practical fellows, they have found that there are two places where the prana gets blocked. One is in the navi. You see, the navi is where the Manipura chakra, the red colored triangle is, with apex up. Here. It's also the center of anger. When you get angry, something is happening here. It's also the center of strong desire. It's also the center of digestion. It's a very important center in an unarmed combat. If you land a nice fist on the Manipura, then for some time the other guy cannot breathe. Finished. Solar plexus, they call it. So this center is usually blocked due to wrong food, wrong emotions, too much anger, all these kind of things, and indigestion. When you burp, it usually comes from here. But it's also, when purified, a most wonderful center. Yesterday you heard this Banaras Gharana singing. The lower sa came from here. Right? So, we have to clear this center before we go into the major exercise of requesting the prana, not pushing. If you kick, push and do strong arm tactics, it's Hatha Yoga. If you do it gently, nicely, it's Raja Yoga. We, in the process of taking it up, one place that you will find there's a block is here, and another place where you find a block is in the neck, Vishuddhi. Now the Vishuddhi is blocked because of, again, wrong food, wrong language, hurting others, all these things, and of course food. You know why many people prefer a certain kind of food? It's nothing to do with health. Taste. Accustomed to the taste. It's difficult to get out of it. Right? So these two centers have to be opened first before we go into the major part, central Kriya. So you know the Guru Mantra. This is the first thing to be done. After Guru Mantra, Kriya number 1 is called the Vishuddhi Kriya, where this center has to be cleared. And then the Navi Kriya, which is Navi's navel, this part has to be cleared. So both are put together and considered as Kriya number 1. Vishuddhi and Manipura, they are one. Then first here, then here. So now we are going to learn how to do Vishuddhi Kriya and Navi Kriya.